So somebody's outside.
Hey, in the back or Jose?
Who shot who? Hey, help me.
Can you come down with me?
Anybody else there blow up? Okay, she's breathing. She's got a lot of stab wounds.
We're getting the ambulance here now.
On February 24th, 2023, a family's peaceful day twisted into a bloody nightmare. For hours, no one was under suspicion until disturbing evidence came to light, leading detectives to the real mastermind behind the gruesome crime.
Okay, look, let's take a nice deep breath, okay?
After 2 people were found murdered in a single home, officers began to uncover every possible clue. But the family's au pair tried to bury the crucial details, depicting herself as an innocent victim.
I don't know. He started stabbing her. I think Brendan shot him, and he asked me help to shot him too because.
Hardin, Virginia. At exactly 7:47 a.m., a chilling 911 call came through. The line was eerily silent, except for the faint, agonized moans of someone in pain.
Fairfax County 911, where's your emergency? Hello, Fairfax County 911.
15 minutes later, a man's voice broke the tension as he simply stated that he had just shot and killed a stranger who had stabbed his wife to death.
Caller saying he shot someone. There's a 34-year-old female that got stabbed by someone, and then he shot him.
It was so horrific that the word appalling could hardly do it justice. As officers rushed to the crime scene, they had little to go on.
Is there anyone else in the house? Any kids in the house? Okay.
Yeah, if you want, I'll hold down here.
Okay.
Bring her down here, and we can get info directly from her.
Hey, help me.
Can you come down with me?
Anybody else there blow up? Okay, she's breathing. She's got a lot of stab wounds.
I think Zach just said
My
We're getting the ambulance here now.
My host kid is downstairs.
Okay.
I'm here.
How old's your host kid?
She's 4.5.
Four and a half. Where is she?
I need to talk to her. She doesn't know anything. What's
Can we get her and we'll go outside?
I'm gonna get her.
No, not the shooter. I think she's upstairs.
Where do we look?
She's grabbing their 4-year-old. We're gonna go outside.
Okay, perfect.
Just please.
It's okay. Yeah.
She's just 4.5.
I know this is hard. Let's get her outside, and then I need to get some information from you.
Hi, Valerie.
Hey.
Hi. How are you?
Hey, I'm Officer Bell. Nice to meet you. Do you want to go outside with us?
We need to go outside, okay?
Let's go.
Now, let's rewind for a moment. The 911 call was made by Brendan Banfield, the man who shot and killed a stranger named Joseph Ryan. Brendan and his wife Christine had been married for nearly 10 years. Their social media posts painted the picture of a perfect couple, deeply in love and constantly sharing glimpses of their happiness. In the quiet, peaceful town of Hardin, the Banfields were the epitome of the ideal family. Christine was known for her unwavering dedication as a pediatric ICU nurse. By all accounts, she was a good mother, a beloved neighbor, and everyone's friend. Brendan had built his life around security and had been a dedicated IRS employee since 2009, working his way up to criminal investigations. Ironically, it was this very career move that led the family to leave behind the fast-paced life of New York and settle in a small town, accompanied by their live-in au pair, Juliana Magalis. After the shocking tragedy, the neighbors scrambled for any answers that how a loving wife ended up brutally stabbed to death in her own home. As investigators began to unravel the crime, their first focus turned to the Banfields' au pair.
Tell me quickly what happened.
I don't really know what happened. Everything happened too fast. I was going to take her to the zoo this morning.
Can you go with Officer Batani really
Why don't
quick?
you come with us?
He has some stickers for you.
I was going to take her to the zoo this morning. And then I forgot the lunch we were going to bring. I turned around and came back here. And then I saw this car. This is her car. That car is the person, I guess.
You don't know who that? Do you know who the person is?
I have no idea.
From Sao Paulo, Brazil, Juliana had come to U.S. to chase her dream. Raised by a single mother, she had always longed for a better life, and that dream led her to a cultural care au pair, an agency that connected young caregivers with host families. In 2021, she left Brazil for Virginia, moving in with the Banfields, the family she had hoped would help her build a brighter future. For nearly a year, Juliana had been part of the Banfield's inner circle, but now she found herself at the center of a chilling investigation on the verge of uncovering a sinister crime.
The guy, I don't know who it is, he was spanking her, I was just here.
Were you here when it happened, or did you walk up in there and
No,
that's how they were?
yeah, he went upstairs first, and then I went to see what is going on. I left Valerie in the basement, and then when I went upstairs, Brendan was saying, "Police, drop the knife."
So, Brendan's a police officer.
Yeah, he's an officer.
Is he with Fairfax?
No?
Where is he an officer?
I don't know. I think it's his office in Vienna.
Vienna?
Yeah.
Okay. 1 second. The guy who shot is they think a Vienna police officer. So we got to think about that. That car, we don't know who. That's the guy who came up here that started the issue. This car is the outside guy, the silver car.
These two.
So this is their car. That is the guy who came here.
Okay.
And then it was because they were yelling at each other. He was saying like, drop the. I'm sorry, my first language is not English.
No, you're doing really well.
He was saying drop the.
The knife or the gun?
The gun. And Brendan said, "No, police, don't drop the knife." And he was saying, "I'm gonna kill her. And I don't know. He started stabbing her. I think Brendan shot him, and he asked me help to shot him too because.
It's okay. You don't have to get it all out right now.
I never saw that before.
The pieces were slowly falling into place, but the investigation was only beginning. What once appeared to be the picture of a perfect family had been shattered in a single horrifying moment.
Again tonight in Fairfax County, where a woman was stabbed to death and a man was shot and killed in a Herndon home.
Right now, police still have the street closed off. The home where this happened is down at the end of a cul-de-sac, unable to be accessed by anyone right now except for law enforcement. Neighbors here in this neighborhood in Herndon tell us that they have seen this family around, walking. They are very friendly, but did not necessarily know them personally. We've seen police going in and out of the crime scene, bringing in a canine dog at one point during this investigation tonight.
The first 911 call came from what we now know to be the au pair cell phone. That 911 call was an open mic. Nothing discernible on that call. It was a quick hang up. We noted that call 13 minutes later from the same 911. From the same cell phone, a 911 call was made, and on the phone was first the au pair communicating with us, and then she apparently handed the phone to the husband. The husband communicated with us, and that's when the husband told us that he shot and killed a man inside of his home, and that's when the husband told us that the man who he shot and killed was stabbing his wife.
February 24th was a morning like any other. Juliana woke up early that day, and her task was simple: taking the 4-year-old daughter on an outing to the zoo. By 7 a.m., Brendan had already left for work, and Christine was at home, preparing for her shift at the hospital. As Juliana drove out of the neighborhood, a sudden realization struck her. She had forgotten the lunches in the fridge. Turning the car around, she headed back home. But as she pulled into the driveway, something immediately felt wrong. An unfamiliar car was parked outside, then she saw a complete stranger walking into the house. Juliana had lived with the Banfields for over a year. She knew the house, the neighborhood, and the people who came and went. As her suspicions deepened, she immediately grabbed her phone and dialed for Christine. But there was no answer. Juliana began to panic, then called Brendan at work. Moments later, Brendan arrived, and as soon as they entered the house, Juliana took the daughter downstairs, trying to keep her safe. Then, the unmistakable sound of terror echoed from upstairs. Brendan shouted, telling Juliana to get the second firearm from the safe. When she returned with the gun, she was met with a sight that would haunt her forever. In the bedroom, the intruder was holding a knife to Christine's throat. In the blink of an eye, everything changed. Brendan and Juliana acted on instinct. Both fired at him, and the man fell to the ground. Brendan's shot struck first, but it was Juliana's that sealed the stranger's fate. However, it was too late. Christine lay dead, stabbed repeatedly in a brutal way. The stranger's name was Joseph Ryan, a 39-year-old whose life seemed ordinary at first glance. He was an animal lover, and friends remembered him as old-fashioned. But as investigators began to dig deeper into his background, the facade of a simple man began to crack. Joseph was active on social media, but in a space most people never venture into. Under the username Taco Supreme 7000, he frequented FetLife, a website known for its dark sexual communities. 1 month before the crime, Joseph Ryan had been messaging someone on the site. The account was named Anastasia9, and the profile picture was none other than Christine Banfield's. Investigators discovered that Joseph and Anastasia9 had been chatting for a long time. They spoke openly about rough sex, bondage, and even blood play, a dangerous fetish involving knives. The conversations grew more suspicious as Anastasia9 claimed she was married, but free to engage in whatever she desired and with whoever she wanted. But was Christine really Anastasia9? As investigators pieced together the fragments, Christine's husband Brendan Banfield wasn't as innocent as he seemed, and the family's au pair Juliana also wasn't a quiet presence in the home. It was a web of secrets and obsession, leading to the crime and a devastating setup. Within days of Christine's death, Juliana was already sleeping in Brendan's bed, but what was even more disturbing was the affair had started long before the tragic crime. Juliana and Brendan had been sneaking away on secret trips. Investigators discovered that months before the murder, Brendan and Juliana had been making frequent trips to the gun range. But it wasn't just the gun range visits that raised suspicion. Detectives uncovered that the FetLife account under the name Anastasia9 had been created using a photo of Christine.
A search of the family's computer revealed an online profile in Christine's name on a fetish sex website, according to prosecutors, as well as communication on the site with Ryan. But the way in which the messages were written didn't seem as though they'd come from Christine, and police say they believe it was someone else communicating with Ryan.
Definitely, someone else had been behind the screen, messaging Joseph to lure him in with promises of twisted fantasies of rough sex. The final meeting between Anastasia9 and Joseph Ryan was scheduled for the morning of February 24th. On that morning, Brendan was scheduled to be at work by 7:30, but instead, he left the house before 7 a.m. and drove straight to a nearby McDonald's, waiting for Juliana's call. At this point, Christine was alone at home, unaware of the man who would soon become part of her tragic fate. The moment Juliana spotted Joseph Ryan, she called and Brendan rushed back home. Investigators believed that Brendan and Juliana had lured Joseph to the house. The crime was designed to make it look like Joseph had stabbed and killed Christine, while her husband acting in self-defense. But allegedly, Banfield was the one who stabbed and killed his wife. One of the most puzzling details is why Brendan had ordered Juliana to grab a second gun, when by all accounts he already had Joseph Ryan in his sights. Investigators also noted the suspicious 15-minute gap between the first and second 911 calls. The crime investigation soon discovered that Brendan had turned it off his wife's phone and hidden it before he even left the house. In the days following the murders, both Brendan and Juliana tried to erase all traces of their past. They discarded their old phones and created a new iCloud accounts. But, as months passed, the carefully constructed facade began to crack. Investigators discovered that Brendan had even driven Juliana to the consulate to help her secure a new passport. In October 2023, just 8 months after the murders, Juliana was arrested and charged with the murder of Joseph Ryan. In September 2024, Brendan Banfield was also arrested and faced 4 counts of aggravated murder, even though only 2 people had died in the crime.
39-year-old Brandon Banfield taken away in handcuffs. It's an image Police Chief Kevin Davis says was a long time coming.
I suspected, I had a feeling that there was a lot more to what met the eye that morning.
The morning of February 24th, 2023, when Christine Banfield was found stabbed to death, alongside Joseph Ryan, who was shot and killed inside the Banfields' Reston home.
The plot to murder Christine had been months in the making. In fact, they had been planning since the autumn of 2023. As authorities dug deeper into the crime scene, they began to uncover a pattern of lies, deceit, and manipulation. There were moments when Juliana tried to back out, but each time, Brendan pressured, coercing her into following through with his twisted plans. Months following the brutal crime, Juliana's guilt began to sink in. Emails to her mother in Brazil told a clear story of despair. She confided how sick she was of being locked up and how much she regretted her actions. By October 2024, Juliana agreed to a plea deal that would forever change the course of her future. She pleaded guilty to manslaughter for the death of Joseph Ryan, a move that saw her charges dramatically downgraded. Meanwhile, Brendan Banfield maintains his innocence in the crime, and he has pleaded not guilty to both murders. The wheels of justice turn slowly, and it seems like it could be a while before we finally see his fateful trial. The real cost of crimes like this one isn't just the lives lost, it's the innocent souls that will now have to carry the weight of its long consequence. If you're still with us, thank you for watching. Show some love by smashing that like button, and we'll see you in the next one.